Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to day 15 of our Katha from the Krishna book written by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. As we keep reiterating that this Krishna book is upon the 10th canto or the 10th skanda of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the pastimes of Lord Krishna. I hope you all had a lovely weekend and you are ready to roll in on a new week, and fingers crossed, keep our spirits and our hopes high for a healthy and happy world, which will appear soon. But while we are stuck in it, let's make most of the circumstances and the situation we are situated in. We're going to start a new chapter, chapter 7, the salvation of Trnavarta. Trnavarta was also one of the demons who appeared. This is the one who appeared after Putana. So we finished last week on Friday when Putana was killed and everybody was relieved in the Gokul, in the Braj, to have Krishna, baby Krishna, who was only 6 days old, safe and sound. So we continue from there. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is always full with 6 opulences, or the Aishwaryas, like we say in Hindi. They are complete wealth, complete strength, complete fame, complete knowledge, complete beauty, and complete renunciation. The Lord appears in different complete eternal forms of incarnation. The conditioned soul has immense opportunity to hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord in these different incarnations. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Janma karma cha me divyam. The pastimes and activities of the Lord are not material. They are beyond the material conception. And the conditioned soul can benefit by hearing such uncommon activities. Hearing is an opportunity to associate with the Lord. To hear His activities is to evolve to the transcendental nature. Simply by hearing, the conditioned soul has the natural aptitude to hear something about the other conditioned souls in the form of fiction, drama, and novel. That inclination to hear something about others may be utilized in hearing the pastimes of the Lord. I'm sure we all identify ourselves in this statement, that we want to hear something about the others. Now, if we are able to utilize that inclination to hear about the Lord, then one can immediately evolve to the transcendental nature. Krishna's pastimes are not only beautiful, they are also very pleasing to the mind. If someone takes advantage of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, the material contamination of dust accumulated in the heart due to long association with material nature can be immediately cleansed. And well, it has accumulated in a thick layer on our hearts because of our recurring births on this Mother Earth in different species. Lord Chaitanya also instructed that simply by hearing the transcendental name of Lord Krishna, one can cleanse the heart of all material contamination. There are different processes for self-realization, but this process of devotional service, of which hearing is the most important function, Shravanam, when adopted by any conditioned soul, will automatically cleanse him of the material contamination and enable him to realize his real constitutional position. Conditional life is due to this contamination only, and as soon as it is cleared off, then naturally the dormant function of the living entity, rendering service to the Lord, awakens. By developing this eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, one becomes eligible to create friendship with the devotees. Maharaj Parikshit recommended from practical experience that everyone try to hear about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. This Krishna treatise is meant for that purpose, and the reader may take advantage of it to attain the ultimate goal of human life. So, when we start to hear about the pastimes of Lord, then the dormant nature of our soul awakens, which is to serve the Lord. How do we serve the Lord? By rendering the devotional service. And what is devotional service? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Padasevanam. We'll talk about these as well as we go along. The Lord, out of his causeless mercy, descends to this material world and displays his activities just like any ordinary man. Unfortunately, the impersonalists or the atheistic class of men consider Krishna to be an ordinary man like themselves, and so they deride him. This is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself when he says, Avajananti mam mudha. The mudhas or the rascals take Krishna to be any ordinary man or a slightly more powerful man. Out of their great misfortune, they cannot accept him as the supreme personality of Godhead. Sometimes such unfortunate persons misrepresent themselves as incarnations of Krishna without referring to the authorized scriptures. When Krishna grew up a little more, he began to turn himself backside up, like all the kids do. He did not merely lie down on his back, and another function was observed by Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Krishna's first birthday, they arranged for Krishna's birthday ceremony, which is still observed by all followers of the Vedic principles. Like we all celebrate the Krishna Janmashtami, that is the Krishna's birthday. Krishna's birthday ceremony is observed in India by all Hindus, irrespective of different sectarian views. All the cowherd men, that is the Gopas and the Gopis, the women, were invited to participate in the jubilant celebration. A nice band played and the assembled people enjoyed it. All the learned Brahmanas were invited, and they chanted the Vedic hymns for the good fortune of Krishna. During the chanting of the Vedic hymns and playing of the bands, Krishna was bathed by Mother Yashoda. This bathing ceremony is technically called the Abhishek. And even today it is observed in all the temples of Vrindavan on Janmashtami Day or the birthday anniversary of Lord Krishna. On this occasion, Mother Yashoda arranged to distribute a large quantity of grain, and first-class cows decorated with golden ornaments were made ready to be given in charity to the learned respectable Brahmanas. Yashoda took her bath and dressed herself nicely, and taking child Krishna duly dressed and bathed on her lap, she sat down to hear the Vedic hymns chanted by the Brahmanas. While Mother Yashoda was listening to the chanting of the Vedic hymns, the child appeared to be falling asleep. And therefore she very silently laid him down on the bed. Being engaged in receiving all the friends, relatives and residents of Vrindavan on that holy occasion, she forgot to feed the child milk. He was crying, being hungry, but Mother Yashoda could not hear him cry because of the various noises. The child, however, became angry because he was hungry and the mother was not paying attention to him. So he lifted his legs and began to kick his lotus feet like any ordinary child. Baby Krishna had been placed underneath a hand-driven cart, and while he was kicking his legs, he accidentally touched the wheel of the cart and it collapsed. Various kinds of utensils and dishes made of brass and other metals had been piled up in the handcart, and they all fell down with a great noise. The wheel of the cart separated from the axle, and the spoke of the wheel were all broken and scattered hither and thither. Mother Yashoda and all the gopis, as well as Maharaj, Nanda and the cowherd men, were astonished to how the cart could have collapsed by itself. All the men and women who were assembled for the holy function crowded around and began to suggest how the cart might have collapsed. No one could ascertain the cause, but some small children who were entrusted to play with baby Krishna informed the crowd that it was due to Krishna striking his feet against the wheel. They assured the crowd that they had seen how it happened with their own eyes, and they strongly asserted the point. Some were listening to the statement of the small children, but the others said, "How can you believe the statements of these children?" The cowherd men and women could not understand that the all-powerful personality of Godhead was lying there as a baby, and that he could do anything, both possible and impossible, in his power. While the discussion was going on, baby Krishna cried. Without remonstration, Mother Yashoda picked the child upon her lap and called the learned Brahmanas to chant the holy Vedic hymns to counteract the evil spirits. At the same time, she allowed the baby to suck her breast. If a child sucks the mother's breast nicely, it is understood that he is out of all danger. But this, all the stronger cowherd men put the broken cart in order, and all the scattered things were set up nicely as before. The Brahmanas thereafter began to offer oblations to the sacrifice fire with yogurt, butter, kusha grass, and water. They worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the good fortune of the child. The Brahmanas who were present at that time were all qualified because they were not envious. They never indulged in untruthfulness. They were never proud. They were never violent. That is, they were non-violent, and they never claimed any false prestige. They were all bona fide Brahmanas, and there was no reason to think that their blessings would be useless. With firm faith in the qualified Brahmanas, Nanda Maharaj took his child on his lap and bathed him with water mixed with various herbs, while the Brahmanas chanted hymns from the Rig, Yajur and Sama Vedas. It is said that without being a qualified Brahmana, one should not read the mantras of the Vedas. Here is the proof that the Brahmanas were qualified with the Brahminical symptoms. Nanda Maharaj also had full faith in them. Therefore, they were allowed to perform the ritualistic ceremonies by chanting the Vedic mantras. There are many different varieties of sacrifices recommended for different purposes, but the mantras are all to be chanted by qualified Brahmanas. And because in this age of Kali, such qualified Brahmanas are not available, all Vedic ritualistic sacrifices are forbidden. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore recommended only one kind of sacrifice in this age, namely the Sankirtan Yajna, or the chanting of the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As the Brahmanas chanted the Vedic hymns and performed the ritualistic ceremonies for the second time, Nanda Maharaj again gave them huge quantities of grain and many cows. All the cows which were given in charity were covered with nice gold-embroidered garments, and their horns were bedecked with golden rings. Their hooves were covered with silver plate, and they wore garlands of flowers. They gave so many cows just for the welfare of his wonderful child, and the Brahmanas in return bestowed their heartfelt blessings, and the blessings offered by the able Brahmanas were never to be baffled. So we shall continue from here tomorrow, our Katha. So we heard in this little narration here that Lord is always full of all the opulences. All of us have got very, very minute percentage of those opulences. And when we see somebody around us with any of those opulences, we just get mesmerized, which is like 0.00 something percentage of the full opulence what the Lord holds. Nobody has got all kinds of opulences. If one has got one is missing. One might have a little bit of beauty, the fame is missing. the knowledge, if there is knowledge, then something else is missing. So just to remind you of the 6 opulences, they were wealth. Lord is complete with 6 opulences, or the Aishwarya, which are complete wealth, complete strength, complete fame, complete knowledge, complete beauty, and complete renunciation. The Lord has got everything, but He's not attached to anything. So He's completely renunciated as well. Now, I shall pray for a happy week ahead for all of you, and we shall meet again tomorrow here. Hare Krishna.